lot of this commercial design is all about how do you design things for a remote consumer who you don't typically see and who you don't have enough understanding. Good to be in Pune. I think this is the 14th edition, and I know some of our friends have been calling me for PDF long time, but it took like almost 14 years to kind of come here and share a few of these things. Happy to share back to designers, because many of my forums are typically to design folks or business folks. Now this may be maybe the first session possibly for so many designers. How many are actually doing design or did design? Okay, so we have enough. I think I never had these many people. I think maybe obviously I had many designers as my teammates in my companies, both local as well as international. I think there's always a question how design gets connected to the business, or how design can be commercialized, or how do you design for commercial plays. There's also a question many times in terms of can designer be an entrepreneur, right? So I think, and there are many answers, and maybe today I'll give one more answer. So, but I think you have to form your own answer because based on context, different context, the answers would change. And I'll touch upon some of these things based on the case studies or scenarios which I have faced so far in last about 22 years. Journey from, in fact, before design and getting into IDC, IIT, I was a mechanical engineer. I did my mechanical engineering. So really like coming from mechanical, trying to do design and getting to software, right? So it's a kind of a weird journey per se, but I still could leverage many of the aspects of mechanical engineering to design, and design and mechanical engineering both into the business aspects. And let's see how the session goes, and then if you have questions, we'll also talk about that.
We'll have some time for questions.
Oh, okay, good.
So, yeah.
Okay, so 20 minutes of now.
Yeah,
okay, good. So, so starting, I think design for business. I think as the topic talks here is and I will based on my viewpoint, I will maybe bucketize design for the different targets. So for example, if a kid is drawing something like simple pictures, etc., this is not for business, right? It's for self-satisfaction or getting like more of a self-recognition, gratification, etc. So scope of that design is different. When somebody is like an artist is drawing something, it's obviously there's a commercial value to that painting at some point of time, but it's really like his expression coming out, maybe for a very specific type of audience. It is not really mean for commercial. That's why that design may have a different commercial aspects altogether. The next could be really like designing for masses. And when you talk about designing for masses, for consumers. And consumer can be of different type. Again, for example, designing things for corporates and designing things for consumers. All right. And again, when you talk about corporates, you can possibly design, let's say, a tabletop or a painting in a corporate. And same thing for consumers, who might design what he consumes, what he uses, or what he basically consumes in house, etc. So I think these buckets are different, right? So designing the kids, designing for really like family, as well as trying to showcase themselves different within the community of those kids, all the way to the consumers. And there's a different commercial value to it. And I will talk more of the later part of it. I would not touch upon more of an artistic commercialization or more like a self-gratifying commercialization. I'll talk more on the consumer side of this story, because that's what I've seen so far, and I can share more of that later. And we will talk about, before I jump into how we do design for businesses or a business of design, or how typically if you say that can I design and become an entrepreneur, what are the aspects? We'll talk about aspects, but let me kind of define the consumer itself first. So if we say that my consumer now is going to be these consumers who possibly I don't see, in the possibly an artistic scenario or kid scenario, they know the consumers. This is my teacher, she likes red, so I'm going to paint red, right? Whereas when you, let's say, designing for a customer who might not be in the same city, different cultural habits, different maybe countries for that matter, completely different maybe devices, maybe the interfaces through which he's going to see your product might be completely different. Somebody might see the product on TV, somebody might use the product at home, somebody might use a mobile, etc. So there are different ways and different dimensions where the products are consumed today. And we'll touch upon that also during this discussion. And I think a lot of this commercial design is all about how do you design things for a remote consumer who you don't typically see and who you don't have enough understanding. Because, for example, if you are defining, let's take an example. Let's say if you're defining, let's say you join, let's say Philips, and making a small, let's say Philips, let's say air purifier. You might understand Pune, weather, Pune, maybe a little bit of Maharashtra, but possibly if that product has to be exported in Africa, right? You're not going to change the product much, but can this product fit there? So how are we going to make it? So that's the reason like a lot of products were made white at some point of time. So no tension, make it white, fits everywhere, right? So, and this is typically like they tried to, so there was a traditional globalization which was done at that time. Whereas if you look at today, that white changed to personalized colors, right? I think in that session they showed that the fridge now has a different kind of color schemes, etc. So because the manufacturing also evolved, you don't make the molded colors. Like this earlier used to happen is like the manufacturing, when you make a mixie or washing machine, etc., the panel is printed in the mold itself, right? And that's how the economic viability of the product was there. So they made everything white. But today, as the manufacturing grew, design leveraged that growth of manufacturing capabilities, and they started making different panels or more personalization of design, so that in Pune people can see possibly white, but maybe in China they can see red, or maybe somewhere they can see blues, etc. Or they can change by year over year, etc. So I think that's important, that how do we define product for masses is, especially if you don't connect to the consumers. And that's where we're going to touch a little bit of the data aspect of the products. How do we get this data, right? And that we'll talk in a while. But as I said, what is happening right now is, if you look at products, they are evolving on one aspect. They're getting more personalized. For example, like you talk on Alexa box, right? Alexa box is common, but what you talk to Alexa, maybe the Alexa for somebody might just be playing English song, but Alexa for somebody might be playing Hindi bhajans or Marathi bhajans in the morning, and then gets personalized because that Alexa knows what to do or how to kind of help you. So products are getting personalized, not just look and feel, but also the content and the insights of the product, right? So that's one aspect which becomes very important when we define products for masses, and that again as an aspect has to be coming into your designs, like can we make products personalized for different personas across the world? And that is one of the important criteria of personalization. Otherwise, if you look at, many times you will see like the designers would say, this is my design, I want it to be blue. It's not you, it's about that customer. And I'm just saying color because most of the designers would understand color. But it could be color, it could be left and right. For example, let's say a lot of products in India are getting exported to, let's say, Africa regions or UAE region. But you know, the text they read is from left to right to left, right? And we read from left to right. So for example, it's a typical habit, the buttons on the right hand side in our case, but they will look at buttons on the left hand side. So I think based on my China experience, I have seen like the products are designed for multiple countries. So many Chinese products, right, if you look at, they have an option and it's built-in design. Like for example, the mixies or the panels or the, let's say you have the, this microwave ovens, etc. Only the panel, the sticker will change, but it will fit. So the language changes. So they have made the product in such a way that it can mold to different consumer needs. Did we do that in India? When we define a mixie, or any panel for that matter, did we think that Tamil, when I say on, O-N, maybe Marathi mein chalu kara, right? Or chalu karo. So maybe the space needed to put that label will be much larger, right? So did we build for that? I think that's very important. And I'll also touch upon that aspect in the zero training model. Is otherwise that one, somebody has to tell the mother, is yala phiravla, is chalu hote, ikade phiravla band hote. But that training is required. But did we make the design effort to make it simply that I just print different stickers and I put the sticker next to it, and my Tamilian mom or my Delhi mom can make it work it better. And that's what really I think these people, so I have design gets there, right? And that's very important. So when you build from product perspective, and same thing goes in softwares. For that matter, in my first company, when we did my the first product, the CRM product, we started going global, started getting multiple languages. We just found that the length of the, let's say, label, let's say, you say, fill your name here, address here, that the size itself changes in different languages. So did we basically build for localization or internationalization? These aspects become very important. Otherwise, what will happen, you might put something and the guy is trying to use the same product and you have to do a training manual for it. Today, more and more as we look at from a commercializer perspective, the fact that you said that I'm going to put an English label or some label and somebody is going to has to do training, you have just increased the cost. Where the cost is going, either you might have somebody training as a friend or whatever, or you might have to print some manual. You might know in small products also there are these manuals, right? It's a cost. It's a cost, it's a variable created extra. Then the market, somebody has to also design that brochure, right? So don't create extra jobs. Okay, it's fine. Obviously you might want to a lot of people actually, I think you might get into, let's say, learning of products and basically just how to train the product. I think these businesses will go down, they will die, because products has to be self-learned. Nobody taught you how to use WhatsApp, right? Even there's a help file, you don't do it. No, most of you would not have understood Word or how to write Word, how to write bullets, etc. It's just on its own, right? Nobody told you like put a star and ABCD and then enter it will start typing bullets, right? So those things are just built into the product as a design itself. So those things are very important. So most important, zero learning. So most of the products, so because learning is a cost in the product. So make sure that you are designing for your customers. They will come from different ethnicity, different languages, different thought processes. Maybe just need learning, and that's what it also brings the context aspect into it. Basically, where am I using a product, right? And this context again becomes very important. Is many times, like I've seen designers, and when I say that, okay, let's create this banking kind of a app, right? Or this, look at many password screen is a good example, right? Password, simple password screen, right? How many of you type passwords in public places? I think everybody, right? And that's why somebody created new keyboard for password, right? They just said now like a pictorial keyboard. So I think that's again a design problem. Nobody's really solved it, because most of the people have started typing password in public space, and public spaces are all rigged right now. There's so many cameras here and there. So I think all these small things are design problems for you to kind of solve. Now, password is an example, but I'm saying the context matters. The context matters in terms of where the person is standing, which medium is using. Most of the times, and most of the new products will be operated by mobile. So I think, and that's why you might have product here, but I might be operating from mobile phone. I might be watching a TV, I might be operating from mobile phone. I have a, let's say whatever, my kitchenware, doing something, I might be operating my mobile phone. So what really happened now, also as an aspect, what happened is the products got divided into two possibilities: a device and there's operating. Like obviously it happened with TV, the buttons moved to remote and I was operating this way. But now possibly mobile has come into picture. So always think what is the context and where the users should be what users, from where the users want to operate their product. Maybe today, how many of you design products, like physical products, right? Okay, good, at least few of you. In the schools and colleges, or even first of your product, in the companies, you'll define, if somebody tells you design, let's say a Mixie, I'm sure that, or a car for that matter, you will make a self-contained car. It is a fully functional car on its own at one place. But would you think that this car might have some functions which will operate through mobile phones? I can tell you many designers even today in India are not thinking of that, and that's why most of the cars today will have this wire hanging which will connect to mobile phone. There's a Bluetooth extra pin which is there so that I can click my Bluetooth, etc. But it's like even the cars which is coming in the next today, right? How? And then somebody does it. It's a big marketing feature. Like GM, I think, done it, right? They said that our cars connect with Bluetooth. It's not a big deal. It's just that 25 rupees, that thing which should have been just built into that. So it's not a cost. It's just that designers didn't think of it. So I think those things are very important. What is the context? This guy is entering the car. 5 years back, he was entering just as a normal person. Today, even a driver enters with a smartphone, right? So I think those things are important from a context perspective. What context you are designing things. And I can tell you right now, this context is changing drastically. If you look, and I'll tell you, in my 20 years career, when I started in 2000, 98, 2000, everything came in, like we raised a lot of funds, etc. But we are designing a product for a CD. That CD goes in, and then there is a desktop product, it works. It's connected through wires, everything, but it's a desktop product. I can carry the product in the CD in my pocket or with that USB flash device. So the context was basically somebody's going to install this product on a PC. This has a huge keyboard. He has a piece, this connected thing. Same thing within 20 years changed to internet, where things were started defining on mobile phones and palms and those devices. So now that knowledge is gone. So whatever possibly somebody has taught me some design, how to design for laptops or let's say PC-based installable software, which are mostly gray screens or Windows, has come to vibrant internet, right? Now, what else happened there? Possibly the keyboard is gone. The different interactivity came into picture. So the context has changed. Not just what you are going to design, the medium is different. When you save, it doesn't save here. It just goes on the cloud. You don't get it. So context has changed. So then you have to also think from a perspective that, okay, if I'm saving my file, what does it mean? Earlier I can save here and carry without even internet, I can show it again. Now I have to think that it won't be carried, or if I have to carry, I need internet there. So the context has changed. Within the same 20 years, what also happened, that changed to mobile phones. Then you have to de-learn a lot of these things. You cannot bring this CD concept. So I might be greatest designer and say, here is my CD product. People will say, half of you may not even understand what is CD, where does it go, right? Because this doesn't have, most of the laptops don't have a CD kind of a slot. So what is happening is the context is changing very drastically. And I can tell you this also, is a lot of content we watched on TV, right? So, and I think somebody was talking about white spaces there from marketing perspective. What really happened if you look at India, I remember in 1985, 86, we had TV channels which came in. So what really happened is, there was this 24 hours, and few houses as TV, so there was 1-2 hours of content, Doordarshan, Hum Log, Vera Kuch Chalta Tha, right? Then what happened is, people just found out that this TV is penetrated, right? Do you know how many households in India? 1 billion household hai na? How many think 1 billion household in India? 1 billion people, 1 billion households, yes? Wrong, 200 million, ज़्यादा नहीं है, क्योंकि 4 लोग घर में रहेंगे ना, that data. So after 150 million population population, what really happened is, people found out this has become a new medium right now. They started designing for it. So what really happened, the 24 hours got divided into every hour, and people started showing different kind of content. Not just this, they started going horizontal, news, soap, pogo, whatever it is. So what really happened, as the new medium came, a lot of these white spaces got filled in. And same thing now happened now on mobile. So in India now, there are 600 million mobile phones, smartphones. We have 24 hours. Different journey, not just this, because TV was a broadcast medium. This is now interactive medium. You don't see, you can also interact. So there's a different dimension. That's the context wise I'm talking about. The context has changed completely for the design. So that's another thing. Third is, I think, data-backed thing. New data is coming. I think, traditionally we looked at different data. Now a lot of AI elements, the products, voices are coming to you. So you have new data to look at, to consume from a design perspective. In fact, you know what? The colors of clothing which is going to come next summer possibly would not be defined by what customers tell you. It's just the AI telling you based on the pictures taken from different geographies today in India and most of the other places. For scale, design for scale is very important, because many times we just, first time we say, I'm making this product, and that's going back to business or entrepreneurship. Design things for scale. You have a choice, you're going to spend extra 20% of time and design for masses, right? That's very important. Otherwise, we just say, my first version is for Pune people. No, design for all the world. Or at least build those elements that way. Self-promoting is very important. You have seen a lot of virals and all these things, right? Do you have elements in the product which go viral? So you as a designer, can you create a feature which will become talk of the town? Generally what I've seen so far in my career, good design doesn't become viral. It was becoming viral. We'll say this brown product is very good, right? Or there was this architect, I forgot his name again. Every time I remember his name. We have any architects? There's some very famous architects actually we used to have, because we are designers from architects. They always talk with this Bauhaus or some of this kind of place. He's saying that great design by Louis Correa or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever, Corbusier, whatever. So I think those kind of things. So that's where design was being spoken. Today design is not spoken. Features are spoken. You talk WhatsApp features, you talk about different features. So that's what, can you build a feature which is self-promoting, and again, you just reduce the marketing cost. So virality of features, virality of design, it may be that, in fact we just talked about somebody showed the Timex watches, right? The Titan watches, weird shaped watches, might be just talk of town, right? So can you create those elements which are self-promoting? As I said, on new media, the channels are changing. Whatever defined offline spaces is getting connected with offline with online. Like TV and remote was there, now TV and mobile phones. You have home appliances, mobile phones, your office spaces connecting with mobile phone, you can control lights of these things. And this is coming very fast. This is not going to, don't think that drones are not going to come very soon. It will come twice the fast as what possibly you're thinking. So it's a new medium. And the medium will have different directions. It is not, sometimes the mediums are broadcasting. So like today, products were not talking to you. Many products started talking to you. Food is ready. The microwave can tell you. The washing machine started speaking. Earlier washing machine only like now it is talking, right? So it's new, this new medium. Leverage all these new mediums to kind of connect with the product. I think these are the few aspects I just put down. Obviously, traditional designs to say you have to understand consumers, their psyche, colors, everything. But I think there are new dimensions which are coming from a design perspective. And these are most, I think, few of these are very important from a commercialization perspective for businesses. And same thing with entrepreneurship. If you are creating products, think of this thing possibly will be able to help you scale your design for masses and also price your design from that perspective. So that's my sharing.
So we have some time for questions. Are there any questions? So, yeah, go ahead.
When you were talking about how like the new devices are using new media, for example voice enabled devices, why do we only use female voices in all the devices? I keep wondering, is there any business perspective or anything else behind that?
I think, so I have a practical, more of a practical answer. I don't know the design philosophy behind it. Maybe there is internal chemistry to that. But I think, if you just do test, because there are only two voices, right? Male voice and female voice. And you can just talk like how many people had female voice, how many male voices. So I think if I just from a consumer perspective, there's more likelihood that a female voices will be learned or understood better, or it may be more pleasing to the ear, saying unless you go right. Fine, right? So whatever that kind of thing, even in different languages, I think it's that thing. It's the same thing goes on advertising things also. Why soaps only have female kind of a thing, right? So that's
there's a physics behind this, that the female voices are high pitched, so they are actually heard
Clearer.
better, clearer. So from that perspective, it is usually a female voice.
And to add to that, because it's high pitch, you can use smaller speakers. The sound will be better with smaller speakers. In all our devices now we've got smaller speakers, so you've got a more chance to have a clearer voice with a female voice with small speakers.
It's great to be a woman nowadays.
Any other questions?
What importance of user experience in designing?
Designing?
User experience in designing your business. Importance of user experiences in business plans.
no. See, I think user experience. my view, right? Obviously the answer is yes, it's very, very high, right? So you cannot say I have everything best but bad user experience. It doesn't work out today. So user experience, molding to users, I think these are given things today. It's no more by choice. You cannot say I will not design for, I have less of a user experience. What you can do from a business perspective, because the topic is about business, you can do some trade-offs from a user. But I cannot say that, or nobody should say that I have not designed for great experience. You will always do for great experience unless somebody says that, okay, this experience is costing us 30% extra. And then you look at alternatives. So might be trade-offs, but not a blanket statement, especially if you think like, you'll never show a presentation, I've designed, my first version of the design is, let's say, 7 out of 10 on user experience. No, it has to be 10 out of 10.
I have one question. How can product managers and designers work better, and how can they work more effectively to create some great products?
Very simple. Designers should become product managers. Very important. Very, very important. They are not two different things. And I have learned it by mistake, possibly, because that first job I came in, I took it, and I became designer to product manager. But I think it's a logical movement. It's very hard to have a normal MBA coming and talking about colors or any kind of a thing. It's taught there also, but I think design. I think it's more natural for designers to become product managers.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, a lot of designers ask for what is the natural growth path for them, and I think product management is probably a good growth path to get a little more closer to the business and how business decisions are made. So good. So thanks. Thank you, Bhushan.